I went today somewhere I haven't been in about 5 years to my local Starbucks, and I'm sitting there in line. I'm hearing all this raw sugar, zero whip, agave, half this, skinny that, foam this, and I just want a regular cup of man coffee. That's all I wanted, a normal cup of coffee. But anyway, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, I know the owner of Starbucks is Howard Schultz. I'm aware of that. But the customer base are the ones who pay the paychecks for those poor baristas who are running around. In other words, what I'm saying to you is that Starbucks, in my mind, is owned by the people who come to buy that overly priced coffee, the customer. Because when you think about it, without the customers, there wouldn't be a Howard Schultz, there wouldn't be a Starbucks. So the customers are the largest employer of Starbucks. And I took this same paradigm and thought I brought it over to the legal system. And I thought, what large number of people keep certain jobs in law employed? So what are you talking about, Prism? Let's go right down to it. Police officers, they make about on average 65K a year. Parole officers make about on average 48K a year. Judges make about 3 Judges under 3 years or less make 91K a year. Lawyers, the pro bono type or the type that will defend you, make about 51K a year. Jail nurses make $54 an hour. Jail doctors make $146 an hour. Nutritionists, or they call them dietitians, make 69K a year. Construction workers, yes, prisons are being built all the time. They're being improved upon. They're being knocked down. Construction workers make about 7,000 per month. And then all those clothes those prisons require, all those clothes, those are by contract. They make about $200,000 a year for those prisons. And I'm thinking, wow, who's the customer for these jobs, right? Who is the one mostly paying for these policemen, parole officers, these judges, these lawyers to have these nice jobs? What is the base? What is it that keeps these people so well employed to take their 2 or 3 vacations a year, to take care of the house for them, to put their kids in nice schools? What is this? What's the driving factor behind these nice retirements? These nice cars they have, these educations that they achieve. What is it? Now, do you think Prism's angry as I'm talking? No. I'm just saying, what is the driving forces that gives these different occupiers of these jobs their jobs? What is it? Think about Starbucks. Is Howard Schultz giving jobs or is the customer giving jobs? It's the customer, because without the customer, again, there's no Howard Schultz. He would not exist. I would not know who he is. You guys know by now, Prism loves numbers. So let's look at it. Let's look at some hard data that's going to upset some people, as always. I always get emails about, oh, you're so hard on us, you're so mean, blah, blah, blah. No, Prism is a realist. That's all I am. I'm just a realist. And I get tired of seeing the same old nonsense every day, the same old junk news every day that just basically irritates me, tell you the truth. Because there's no more excuses. Let's look at some numbers. 13% of the population in America is black. 13%. And yet, prison represents 39% of black people overall. So prison represents 3 times the amount in prison than out of prison. Again, 13% of America is black, but yet 39% are represented in prisons. Let's just say half of that 39% was set up, they were misidentified, whatever you want to say. They were wrongly in prison, right? So they all get to go free. You still have 19.5% in prison. But yet again, you only have 13% in the general population in America. There's something wrong with that. So that 39% who are in prison, that 39% probably without jobs, many of them without fathers, of course. We know that already. Many of them without any kind of hope, probably come from gangs, probably have a lot of bad behaviors and habits you don't want to have around you or your neighborhood, of course. But that 39%, the 39% can be directly paralleled to the customers in Starbucks. So what am I saying? I'm saying that 39% of those prisoners of the black population, the 39% of prisoners of the black population are paying for the police, the parole officers, the judges, the lawyers, the jail nurses, the jail doctors, the nutritionists, the construction workers, the clothing manufacturers. That's what they're paying for. And again, like Starbucks, the customer is always right. This 39%, yes, it's not more than half, but it's times 3 of the black population in America. 39% is a large chunk of people. It's a lot of people who are helping to feed these police officers' families, to help the jail doctors go on their vacations to Brazil, to help the construction workers to build their own houses. They're helping the clothing manufacturers to pay for their employees. Do you see what I'm getting at here? The customer is always right. And this is what I'm always talking about. And I'll mention it again. I will do a video about like the BLM movement, Black Lives Matter movement. Why isn't there anything, one word about anything about what they're doing for black men in these kind of situations? Where is the donations? Where is the money for these black men in prison? I read an article just yesterday, and you can go Google it too if you want. BLM made $80 million last year. I haven't yet to do a video about where that money goes, but I saw nothing about going to helping out black men in prisons, obtaining an education, obtaining anything worthwhile, really. I saw nothing about that at all. And so I want you to understand that the way I look at numbers, I look at businesses and I look at customers. So one of the largest contributors to policemen, parole officers, jails, doctors, jail nurses, whatever, are black men who are in prison. They're one of the largest contributors to these professionals having good lives. Because without prisoners, you don't need a judge, you don't need a lawyer, you don't need a nutritionist for prison, you don't need a parole officer, you don't even need a policeman, because everybody's obeying the law, right? And so I just want you to think about that. These are the kind of things that annoy me, because I'm part of that 13% out there in America. And yet I walk around every day knowing that there's 39% representation of me in prison. 39% representation of me in prison. And so we have to look beyond more than just blaming the white man, right? Blaming racism, right? Oh, I didn't get that job because I'm black. No, maybe you didn't get that job because you weren't qualified. Maybe you didn't have the education. Maybe your attitude at the interview was so obvious they didn't want to deal with that. There's a lot of maybes there. Yeah, sometimes you can say racism too. It just all depends. Maybe my grades aren't good enough because the teacher is racist. No, maybe your grades are not good enough because you didn't study long enough and you goofed around and played around too long. Maybe that's it. Oh, I can't do good because this guy who came from Asia, they like Asian guys better, people better than me, so they got that job. No. Maybe because an Asian person, especially the Asian person who's not even born in America, who comes here and succeeds and you don't, it's kind of embarrassing to tell you the truth. That person should not be your competition at all. You should have the competition edge because this is your country. You were born here. Getting mad at some foreign person who comes here and excels and then you're going to blame it on racism is silly. There are so many things that BLM can do, that other black people can do in a positive way. But what I get tired of seeing, whether it be on TV or on YouTube, is this constant huge elephant in the room. This thing is huge. And that elephant is called self-responsibility of black people. And we're looking all around us, blaming police officers for shooting black men, blaming racism for not being able to get ahead, blaming racist teachers for getting bad grades, blaming having a single mom for every single failure of your life, blaming all these people, all these entities, while you're stuck next to the wall because the elephant is so big and the elephant of self-responsibility for black people is just squeezing you. And with your last breaths, you're saying, I blame the white people for this. I blame the racist teacher. I blame everything except what's in the mirror. I blame everything except for what's in the mirror. 39%, the customer is always right.